Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. So quick notes about yield farming, ranges, all that good stuff about concentrated liquidity. Now, impermanent loss is just something we're gonna have to deal with on yield farming. That's why I made my last video and told you about how fees make or break your strategy. The end game are the fees. They are the ones that will counter potential impermanent loss. Right now, this position has been open for less than 1 day. The PNL, it's -$7, although we generated $2 in fees. That's because now we are out of range, right? You see the flag here, out of range. It's not generating fees. It stayed in range for a very small amount of time, so it generated very little fees. Now the profit and loss is mostly affected by Solana's price. So you can see here the current price of Solana is $176. And the thing is, impermanent loss will keep on going up as Solana's price goes down. When we're dealing with concentrated liquidity pools, essentially you're putting in a buying and a selling order automatically, okay? Your upper price range is one order, your lower price range is the other order. In the meanwhile, while the price is trending in between those ranges, we are generating fees. That's what we want, and that's why I tell you, especially as a beginner, go with wider ranges. Because after all, that's the whole goal of providing liquidity, earning those juicy fees. Now Solana's price is, like we just saw, $176. If Solana's price keeps going down, we see that our current position is fully made from Solana. Because as the price of Solana goes down, we just sold our USDC to buy the dip, to buy Solana. Essentially, that's what we were telling when we set up this range. And the same thing will go for our upper range. If the price of Solana goes up and meets our upper range, we will see that all of our Solana will be sold for USDC. If Solana price keeps going up and goes to $200, for example, we will also see impermanent loss here going up. And that is because if we just held this Solana, you see here HODL, this is the initial deposit that we just did. So if we would be holding that Solana that we deposit, if Solana goes to $200, this multiplied by $200 would be our price. And that difference would be the impermanent loss. And when I say that difference, is the difference between Solana's price, if it would be at $200, and our upper price range. Although it's not necessarily something you should be scared of, because would you still be holding your tokens in your wallet if Solana's price goes to $200? Because if the answer is I just want to hold, then you should be yield farming, of course, because that will put you earning some passive income in the shape of fees. And the same thing for what we are just experiencing right now. Solana price is going down. Are you panicking? Do you want to sell Solana right away? Because if you do, then you need to go out of the position, sell Solana before it drops even further. If, on the other hand, you trust that Solana will bounce back up, don't stress it, because eventually it will kick back into range. Our minimum range is 178, maximum 186. Essentially, understand this. Our upper range is a selling order where you are selling all of your Solana for USDC, and this lower price range is another selling order or buying order where you are selling USDC to buy Solana, essentially buying the dip. So being a liquidity provider is a long-term type of game. Even if we are considering volatile pairs, this is a stable to volatile pair, this will experience a little bit more impermanent loss because of that. So let me show you on DeFi Llama real fast. So when we look at this matrix for the past year, we see that USDC paired with Solana, it's not the best. It's above 0, which is still good. I mean, the worst case scenario would be -1. Best case scenario would be having a correlation score of 1, which would be 100% correlation. That's not going to happen when we're talking about a stable coin paired with a volatile asset. You can see for the pair of USDC with Bitcoin, the same thing, right? 0.08%. This one is 0.15 or 15%, right? Correlation. So you see the correlation for a stable coin to a blue chip asset. It has not been the best for the past year. For the past month, the same. A little bit better for the past month, actually. And for the past 7 days, for the past week, it's looking even better. But if we ignore that, and if we look at the correlation for Solana, let's go with the whole year once again, Solana with other blue chip stuff like Solana Bitcoin, Solana BNB, we see that the score is much higher. That's because the price goes hand in hand. They are both volatile assets and they happen to be highly correlated. So necessarily you will experience more impermanent loss when we're talking about a blue chip asset paired with a stable coin, but in the long run the fees are what are going to make it or break it. Okay, let's go back here on Crystal. So this is what I want you to take away from this video. Impermanent loss will basically compare your initial deposit, see at the current market price how much it would be worth, and compare that with your worth of the current liquidity position, which is dynamic, depends on the market price, right? Plus the fees. So let's imagine had this position stayed in range for more time and we had generated more fees. If we had generated $10 in fees, for example, that would offset impermanent loss altogether. But again, as Solana price keeps going down, our impermanent loss would increase once again because we would be holding 100% of an asset which is depreciating. And the same thing would go once again for Solana's price going up. If that would be the case, it goes out of range and now we would have sold all Solana for USDC. Impermanent loss would also be showing red because instead of holding an asset that could potentially be worth more than when we deposited, we just sold it for USDC. But in that case, it's a bit better because impermanent loss is going to be not a real thing when price goes up, because that's what we determined. We determined that we would be okay to sell Solana for USDC at this max price. So essentially that plus the fees, we are on profit, of course. It doesn't matter that when the price goes up, what you see here on impermanent loss, you just made the decision to sell your Solana at a specific point, and that price point was chosen by yourself. So it's not the case that you would have a crystal ball and would be looking at it and knowing that Solana price would keep going up and up and up, all right? Because if that would be the case, potentially you would be holding it and then selling at the top, right? All right, guys, quick notes that I wanted to share with you about liquidity ranges, consider liquidity pools, impermanent loss. I see many of you are a bit afraid of impermanent loss, but once you get an understanding of how this game is played and you understand that the whole end game here is generating fees, and also how you can potentially avoid impermanent loss with wider ranges, because at the end of the day we want to be in range for the most amount of time, generating the most amount of fees. All right, now if you want me to just talk about some other examples with volatile assets, for example Solana paired with Bitcoin, let me know in the comments. I can make definitely a video about it. In the meanwhile, keep exploring crypto, like and subscribe for more of this type of content if you took value from it, of course. Thank you for watching, take care, I'll see you on the next one.